it was Beatlemania. Some guy shows up at your house who calls himself Jesus.
Yeah.
And instead of calling the police, you invite him into the studio.
Yeah.
Don't you think that's crazy?
It didn't seem crazy at the time.
So the Stones recorded their first album in this room.
The Stones, the Kinks, the Who, everybody recorded in here when it was Regent Sound Studio.
Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. If you love music, and especially if you love the Beatles, please make sure you subscribe and you check out my other videos because you're definitely going to find them interesting. Now today we are here in central London and I've got something really cool to show you. So we are here in the middle of central London. This is Denmark Street. Right there you have Tottenham Court Road, one of the busiest stations in central London, and there you can see the offices of Google. Here there's a lot of music shops and I want to show you one in particular. This building right there is Regent Sound Studio. This is now a music shop, but for many years it was a recording studio where many artists recorded, including Jimi Hendrix, Elton John, and of course my favorite band, the Beatles. Tucked away on Denmark Street, the heart of London's historic music district, Regent Sound Studio stands as a silent witness to the evolution of the British music scene. While the exact opening date remains unclear, the studio is believed to have welcomed musicians since the 1940s, with some evidence suggesting an even earlier establishment in the 1930s. Denmark Street has long been the epicenter of the British music industry, boasting a rich history within its every building. In the early days, the street pulsated with the rhythm of in-house, local, national and traveling musicians, along with songwriters, publicists, agents and managers. The vibrant atmosphere made Regent Sound Studio a focal point for artists looking to perform, record and cut their music onto acetate. The sheer volume of music being created, bought and sold on Denmark Street was astonishing, establishing it as a breeding ground for musical talent. The 1960s marked a transformative period for the music industry, notably with the rise of the Beatles and their contemporaries. This shift towards bands writing their own songs led to a change in the dynamics of the industry. In this period of flux, Regent Sound Studio found a visionary patron in James Baring, an affluent and eccentric socialite with connections to the Beatles and the Rolling Stones, resulting in the Rolling Stones recording their debut album and much of their early work at Regent Sound. By 1968, James Baring decided to leave London, selling Regent Sound Studio to President Records. Under the new management, the studio continued to flourish, becoming a breeding ground for talent. The roster of artists who recorded at Regent Sound Studios reads like a who's who of the 1960s and 1970s music scene, including the Kinks, the Jimi Hendrix Experience, the Who, Elton John and Black Sabbath. Regent Sound's success prompted the opening of a second, larger studio on Tottenham Court Road, known as Studio A. Although short-lived, it hosted recording sessions for Genesis, the Bee Gees, and, more notably, it was at Studio A that Paul McCartney recorded Fixing a Hole in just over a day with George Martin, a rare occasion when a famous Beatles song was not recorded at Abbey Road Studios. Hi, sorry to interrupt the video. Just a very quick, very important announcement. I published a book. That's right, I published a book. It's called From the Cavern to Abbey Road, a journey through the Beatles' iconic landmarks. In this book, we see the story of the Beatles from the places where everything happened. Some of them are famous, like let's say Abbey Road Studios, and some of them perhaps not so famous, like for example the art gallery where John and Yoko met. The book is divided in 4 sections: Liverpool, Hamburg, London, and the last one is all around the world, so of course I called it Here, There and Everywhere. I put a lot of work and effort into this book and it would help me so much if you grabbed a copy. It's available on Amazon all around the world and it comes in 2 different formats. One is a digital book for Kindle and the other one is the paperback, which is the one that I've got in my hands right now. So if you want your copy, please go to the link in the description. Thank you. Now back to the video. The Beatles session at Regent Sound Studio for Fixing a Hole is etched in history. EMI studios were all booked on this day. So the group decamped to Regent Sound Studio at 164 Tottenham Court Road. The normal Beatles sound engineer Jeff Emerick couldn't attend as he was an EMI employee. So Regent Sound's chief engineer Adrian Epeston stepped in. This marked the Beatles' first EMI recording session in a British studio other than Abbey Road. Paul McCartney played the harpsichord and Ringo Starr handled the drums and maracas. A peculiar anecdote from this day involves McCartney inviting a man who claimed to be Jesus to the session, adding a touch of eccentricity to the proceedings. Paul recalls, "The funny thing about that was that the night when we were recording Fixing a Hole at Regent Sound Studios at Tottenham Court Road, I brought a guy who was Jesus. A guy arrived at my front gate and I said, 'Yes, hello,' because I always used to answer it to everyone. If they were boring, I would say, 'Sorry, no,' and they generally went away. But this guy said, 'I'm Jesus Christ,' and I said, 'Oops,' slightly shocked. So I told him, 'Well, you better come in then.' I thought, well, he probably isn't, but if he is, I'm not going to be the one to turn him away. So I gave him a cup of tea and we just chatted and I asked him, 'Why do you think you're Jesus?' Anyways, I said, 'I gotta go to a session, but if you promise to be very quiet and just sit in a corner, you can come.' So he did. He came to the session and he did sit very quietly and I never saw him after that. I introduced him to the guys and they said, 'Who's this?' And I said, 'He's Jesus Christ.' We had a bit of a giggle over that. Work on Fixing a Hole continued back at EMI Studios without Jesus on the 21st of February 1967.
What would happen is people would show up
Yeah.
at my house.
At your door.
Just went out to the door, said, "Yeah?" And he said, "I'm Jesus." I said, "You better come in.
Really?
You want a cup of tea?" You know, he's probably not Jesus. He's probably sort of
schizophrenic.
A hippie, maybe
Yeah.
schizophrenic. I thought, you never know. I've got this session.
Yeah.
And if you want, you can come and hang out there. So I came into the guys and sort of said, "Look, he says he's Jesus. Now, I don't know if he is or isn't.
Right.
But I'm not going to take any chances here." And
he
I
sat
said to him, "Shh, don't say a word. Just be Jesus."
As the 1970s unfolded, Regent Sounds faced stiff competition from larger and technologically superior studios like Abbey Road, Olympic and Trident. This, coupled with the changing landscape of the music industry, led to the eventual closure of Regent Sound's doors. Today, the legacy lives on, as Regent Sound Studio has transformed into a guitar shop, appropriately named Regent Sounds. The shop preserves the rich musical history of the place, showcasing a deep respect for the role it played in shaping the sounds of the past generations and supporting future musicians. While the recording equipment might be gone, the spirit of Regent Sound continues to resonate through the chords and melodies played in this hallowed space. So that was pretty much it for now. Thank you so much for watching until the end. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. You can also follow me on Instagram or Facebook. There is a PayPal link for donations if you want to support this channel. You can also buy my book, the link is in the description, or the free option is just to subscribe to this YouTube channel and check out my other videos because you're definitely going to find them interesting. You can also click on the bell icon if you want to be the first to know when I upload new videos. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Bye.
Well, I'm afraid that's us run out of time.
Oh,
I'm really
okay.
sorry.
Well,
Sorry.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you very much
Thank you.
for...